What's going on, guys? This is Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Back again for another great episode. And today's episode is strength of schedules for running backs and wide receivers. I'm only going to do 3 out of each position. I don't think I need to go completely down the line, but I think the top 3 are very important. These are some of these guys that are going really late. Some of these guys that aren't even being really talked about right now. So I feel like the strength of schedule is definitely a tool that you need going into draft day, or even evaluate, players that you already drafted. But I definitely think the top 3 are very important, and guys that aren't being talked about right now, or even being considered as a RB2, as a flex, or RB1. There's some sticky situations where I don't really want parts of, but I might have to invest with the schedule the way it looks like. So again, the way strength of schedule works is basically calculated on points allowed. So this is 2019 points allowed against defenses. So I don't want to waste any more time, so let's get right into the episode. So, strength of schedule, today's episode, and how can I forget of this pretty trophy behind me? It is a little bit smaller than I expected, but it's for my subscribers league. The winner brings home the gold. Silver in this case, platinum, whatever, but they bring home the gold. I might put their name on it, but at the end of the day, I feel like I just bought this for myself because it's not going anywhere because, I just feel that confident. I might even throw my team up right here. Yeah, I'm gonna do that for this episode. I'm gonna throw my team up. I'm gonna throw 4 or 5 players so you can see what I'm working with and understand why I'm probably gonna win. But anyway, strength of schedule today. Let's jump into that. Now, number 1, Jonathan Taylor for the running backs. He has probably the easiest schedule. He has probably one of the best O-lines going into this next season. So with him in that backfield, it might take a little bit of time, might take 5 to 6 weeks. I think we all know that, Marlon Mack is still there, but we know Mack isn't the guy. We know Marlon Mack can't be trusted. We know the Colts don't believe in him. They drafted Jonathan Taylor for the future. So we're already on course of understanding that Jonathan Taylor is the true starter, but it's just going to take a while before we can get him going, before we can start getting, Derrick Henry vibes. So I think he comes in around week 5, week 6, where we really see him explode. But him having the easiest schedule out of all the running backs, it's obviously he must be rostered. I'm not even entertaining, drafting Marlon Mack as just in case. Excuse me. Because for the simple fact, Marlon Mack has not been healthy the first 3 years of the season. He hasn't given us a healthy season. He's produced 1,000-yard seasons, but it's he's not the guy. The Colts wouldn't invest in Jonathan Taylor. He's a very special talent, Mr. 6,000 yards. Dude is a baller, pure stud. So he needs to be rostered all across the board. I don't really need to go really in-depth about Jonathan Taylor or why he needs to be rostered, or it's a pretty much no-brainer here. So I'm not even entertaining Mack to be a handcuff. I'm not even entertaining investing in Marlon Mack as an as a insurance policy, I should say. But we know Jonathan Taylor is the true RB1 there. He needs to be rostered. I got him going in the 3rd round, 308. You know what I mean? That's pretty fair where I see him going. But if he gets a little bit more buzz, a little bit more hype before my draft day, which is in 2 weeks, or some people that draft that first week of September before the actual game, which I think is September 11th. I think it's Buffalo versus the Chiefs. Whatever. It doesn't even matter. But I feel like he's sitting pretty right there at 308, and I'm willing to take that investment. I might pay for it. You know what I mean? I might pay for it the first 4 to 5 to 6 weeks, but I think he's going to explode. I think he's going to turn up come playoff season. He's definitely going to be a playoff hero. You know what I mean? He's going to be one of those playoff studs that I definitely need parts of it. And definitely Dynasty. I don't talk much Dynasty. More so, this is redraft, PPR only that I really preach and talk about, live and breathe. But for Dynasty, I could dip into that. That's an obvious why you need to roster him and get your hands on Jonathan Taylor for this season. Now, number 2, this is where it gets a little sticky. This is where I don't really like bouncing with, because with Pittsburgh coming at 2 with the easiest schedule when it comes to the running backs, I don't like the backfield. I don't like James Conner, honestly. I don't like that, he's injury prone. I think we could label him that. And I do like that they're going to bring him back to a featured role, basically splitting with Benny Snell, or whatever you say his name is, Snell Jr. And they're probably going to try to balance, I guess, that backfield where it's going to be a running back committee of some sort where they don't really want to use James Conner 100% because we've seen that happen. We've seen him get banged up, get injured, and not be very useful for us fantasy owners. So I do like where he's going back to, the future back where we've seen him actually become fantasy relevant. He played very well in that role. He wasn't on the field all the time. He was healthy, fresh legs, come in, scored a couple touchdowns, catch a couple passes, and then we were sitting pretty with James Conner. But then when he got that full workload with Bell out of the way, it kind of was a letdown, you know what I mean? So this season, again, it's kind of a sticky situation. I don't really like James Conner as an RB2. I'll take him as my flex all day long, Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday, Sunday through Saturday. It don't matter. I'll take him as my flex RB3. But in my RB2, I can't have that confidence where if I do draft the Jonathan Taylor, like I said, having the easiest schedule. Jonathan Taylor, James Conner is my two running backs. When I got to wait for Jonathan Taylor to really explode, maybe 4 to 5 weeks, it's like that I do not like. But again, if you're getting him for your flex, if you're getting him kind of cheap, it does pay off to have that strength of schedule, to have the second easiest, schedule going into this 2020 season. So I definitely don't feel great about James Conner. I don't like every mock draft I've done taking James Conner. It was just stale. Like, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like, damn, I got a baller. I got a stud. It's somebody that's going to go off. I feel like, I don't know. It didn't feel right. I'm not really a huge James Conner fan for this 2020 season. But again, the pros of all this is that they're going to have Big Ben back. Juju's going to be healthy. And then James Conner having that featured role. We'll have to see how things gel out, definitely. But James Conner sitting at number 2 with a 5-star rating for the easiest schedule going into 2020 season. Now, number 3 is the New England Patriots. Sony Michel, Lamar Miller recently added to the roster. I mean, come on, bro. Is my boy Damian Harris going to get a chance? I mean, I keep hearing his name. I keep seeing some love for him. Is he going to get a chance? That's what I really want. But with all this additions to the backfield, and James White also there going to be, a Kmart version of CMC to Cam Newton, which I'm not mad at. James White has always done me justice. I can't even call him Kmart. I'll say he's Walmart, to CMC, who's like freaking, I don't know, a shopping center that doesn't even fucking exist yet, but it's top notch. But anyway, I definitely think the backfield is crowded. Nobody likes running back committees. No, everybody hates them. I think San Fran, excuse me, I keep burping. What the fuck? I think San Fran and New England are the two backfields. Maybe even add the Rams to that mix, being that they announced publicly they're going to do a running back committee. But Hard Knocks tonight. Well, by the time I edit this, it will be yesterday. But anyway, 10 o'clock tonight, my Rams will be on Hard Knocks, and we'll get a sneak peek, a little dive into what's going on in that, in that Rams camp. So we'll get to see early looks of, Darrell Henderson, Malcolm Brown, and Cam Akers, how this is going to play out. We get a little sneak peek. But again, when it's backfields that have too many mouths that want to get on that field, that have this type of role, but then this is role, and then game scripted out, I don't want any parts of that when it comes to my fantasy team, because I want guys that I can start and forget when it comes Sunday and it's a full set, and I don't have to worry about who they're playing this week. So being that they have the third easiest schedule, I would like it if they didn't add Lamar Miller to that backfield. I would like it if they didn't have a James White doing this role, and then they have Sony Michel kind of doing like goal line work, first and second down, whatever the case may be. It's just too much is going on there. So when we look at strength of schedules, we use it as a tool going into draft day of like, all right, this running back, I'm getting him pretty cheap, but he has a great schedule, so he's going to produce for me. There's volume there. But then, like I said, with the Pittsburgh Steelers and then Patriots with their running back, their committees or whatever they got going on, it's just too many people back there. So I'll do you justice. I'll go to the fourth one, the fourth easiest schedule with a 4-star rating as of now. Leonard Fournette. He's another guy you're probably going to get as a RB2. Maybe if you get lucky enough, a RB3, but he's in that category. I got Todd Gurley, David Johnson, Melvin Gordon. Those are the 4 guys that I feel like it's a lot of question marks. You don't know what you're getting. You've been burned by them. And you got Leonard Fournette. You got him coming off of, I think, like 79 catches on 100, 100 targets, which is not going to happen again. That's why they brought in Chris Thompson. You're probably thinking Chris Thompson is a nobody, but Chris Thompson's going to get those targets out of the backfield, best believe. I don't think we're going to get 100 targets out of Leonard Fournette, which made him RB7 relevant, which made him week to week. There was games that Fournette was sitting in the fourth quarter were only like 6 to 7 points, and then he busts one for 20-plus yards, and he's catching a couple passes, and look at you, you're at like 16 to 20 points right there in the fourth quarter. That is nerve-wracking to me. That I do not want. That I just need to have a start and forget, and that don't have to worry about, first, second, and third quarter you're putting up fucking donuts, but whatever. It's just with this situation, him having the easiest schedule, it does bring me some comfort that I'm getting a Leonard Fournette, who's still a very good running back. There's nothing wrong with him. He just has, the in-house drama, with the head coaches and the GM, and then he publicly basically said, go get Cam Newton over Minshew being named the starter to be the franchise quarterback, which I don't think he is. But this year will decide me on that fence, honestly. But I feel like they didn't exercise his fifth-year option. They did not talk contract with him. Leonard Fournette is gone after this year. I don't see him staying in Jacksonville. I don't even care if he has like a RB2 or RB3, finish. I don't think he's going to stay in Jacksonville. I just don't see it happening. I think they're more so moving towards the future. They had so much drama with him. I don't think they want to deal with him. He's a headache. But again, when it comes to strength of schedule, again, how can you not get him to have the fourth easiest schedule, going into the 2020 season? So he's definitely a guy that you can get as an RB2 and be comfortable. I could say I could be comfortable with Leonard Fournette as my RB2 over at James Conner. I can say that full sentence. I want that. But again, we don't know how relevant he will be in that passing game. That's what really kept him afloat. That's what really had him stand out. So I think Leonard Fournette going in the late third, early fourth round, that's kind of fair where I cannot be too worried about the investment there with his ADP. Now I'm going to move on to the wide receivers, people. I never did a transition like this without doing like a cut, but I'm going to try to one-take this bitch today. My boy, A-Rob, number one for the Chicago Bears, 5-star rating, easiest schedule. My only problem with this is if Nick Foles comes in and shits the bed, that's going to affect Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson has the chemistry with a terrible Trubisky, and look how that turned out. Ended up being a top 10 wide receiver, and I want that. I want Trubisky to lean on, to have the security blanket, to have A-Rob sitting there waiting for all the receptions, all the volume. It's just this QB battle here. I honestly already know Nick Foles is going to come out as winner. I just need Nick Foles to understand that Allen Robinson's the wide receiver one. Don't try to get Anthony Miller involved. Don't try to fucking check down the fucking Tariq pestering Cohen every single play. Let Allen Robinson be the wide receiver one. Let him be your first go-to option. Let him be your first look, your first read. Let him do what he did last season to be great. Because I'm getting Allen Robinson all my leagues, and I'm getting him semi-cheap. I'm not having to go crazy, reach out for him. He's been my wide receiver 2 on most of my fucking rosters right now, which I love. Allen Robinson, Robert Woods, all these guys, DJ Chark, A.J. Brown, these are all guys I love as my wide receiver 2 that I need all smoke and all parts of. So him having the easiest schedule when it comes to this 2020 season, Allen Robinson needs to see your roster, people. But there's always a pros and cons to it. There's always question marks when we do this list. There's really no wide receiver competition there. I really don't see anybody, cutting into his touches. Cutting into his targets like that. You got Ted Ginn there. Whoop-de-doo. He stretches the field. Anthony Miller is very, that's an attractive late round pick, but I don't think Anthony Miller is going to do much damage against Allen Robinson at all. I think Allen Robinson has, dominated that wide receiver one. He's shown leadership, in that locker room, which was reported. So it's like he's taken in that leadership, the captain of that wide receiver one room. So I definitely think Nick Foles, if he comes in, which he is, he needs to just establish that chemistry quickly with Allen Robinson and just go to Allen Robinson every single play. That's just what I hope for, you know what I mean? Since I'm getting him at wide receiver 2, even a flex in some of these leagues, man. Some people are sleeping on this dude. Now, the second easiest schedule is the Green Bay Packers. Now, Devontae Adams is a guy that I already know he's going in the late first round, maybe second round, but Devontae Adams is a freak athlete. His route running, his hands, everything is to the T, crisp. I'm telling you right now. Obviously, he's going to be rostered. Obviously, I want all parts about him. But this is not really about him having the easiest schedule. It's about Alan Lazard. He's going in the late rounds, 10th, 11th, 12th round. That's where he's living and breathing. I want a wide receiver, too, that has that potential, who has that ceiling, that can explode and give me flex points week to week. 10 to 12 points a week, that's where I look to have Alan Lazard, getting him as late as I can. And him having the second easiest schedule, that just brings warmth to my heart, knowing that I can get him so late and he can produce for me in that flex spot when somebody's on a bye, or he can live and breathe and be a star and forget if he's going to put up those numbers. Because we know Devontae Adams is going to be doubled. We know Devontae Adams is a freak athlete out there. He's getting the number one corners week to week. So I definitely want Alan Lazard's going against the weakest defenses week to week, having the second easiest schedule with a 5-star rating, people. Again, this is based off of 2019 defenses, from last year. This is how these are calculated for points allowed. I definitely want all smoke, all shares, all parts of Alan Lazard going into this 2020 season. So that this is definitely not about Devontae Adams. We know he's a freak athlete. We know he's going to be rostered. We know he's going late first round, early second round. This is really about Alan Lazard, being that you're getting him so late. And I definitely need him on my roster. Now we're back to number 3 for the wide receivers for the strength of schedule. Again, it's the Colts. The Colts have a pretty solid schedule where you're going to have a lot of fantasy points going in and out of there, basically through all positions, how I feel. So with this being set up for the wide receiver, T.Y. Hilton, I don't really think this is about T.Y. Hilton, just so similar to Devontae Adams. This is really about Michael Pittman. He is definitely the standout rookie that I believe needs to be rostered. Again, you're getting him very late. You're getting him around the 10th, 11th, 12th round, and I definitely think he can excel to be a flex, start and forget, being 10 to 12 points where I want to live at with these guys that I get in these late rounds. If I can get that every single week for him, having the third easiest schedule, it's a full send. But I know some people were let down by Paris Campbell, but I definitely think it's going to be some competition there for the wide receiver 2 spot. You know what I mean? T.Y. Hilton's on the back end of his career. He's aging. He's beat up. He's dealing with injury here and there, but I definitely think he can still ball out. So the wide receiver 1 spot is definitely, there for him to just lock up. Now, wide receiver 2, I definitely think Paris Campbell and Michael Pittman can battle it out. But either or, they're both going very late. It's not like you're doing any crazy investment on the 2. So it's like, I'll take a late round flyer on a Paris Campbell, and I'll take a rookie that's coming out, ready to dominate the field. And I definitely think he's a special talent that Rivers will he will definitely develop him. He will definitely throw some gems on him, and he'll definitely groom him to where he could be a solid wide receiver 2 option. So that's definitely something I need to have all share, all smoke, all problems with Michael Pittman definitely hit my roster. A lot of people don't like the kid. I don't know why. Everybody's saying that, Paris Campbell is going to be the wide receiver 2, but Paris Campbell just let us down last season. Michael Pittman can easily do the same, but still, I'd rather take that late round flyer on Michael Pittman than, Paris Campbell who's going undrafted. I could pick up on waivers whenever. So I definitely think Michael Pittman wins that battle. He's definitely wide receiver 2, and he has the third easiest schedule. I don't see any problems here, people. Give me all smoke. Now, just quickly to go over the 3, positions of each of running back and wide receiver, 3 spots that have the worst schedules. I'm going to start with the wide receivers. The worst schedule being dead last, the Miami Dolphins, Devontae Parker. Next up, Jets, Jameson Crowder. After that, Will Fuller. We know he's not going to see a full 16 games, so it doesn't matter. But they have a 1-star rating when it comes to strength of schedule, meaning they have the hardest schedules at that wide receiver position. Points allowed. So that right there, if that helps you go on the draft day, hopefully it does. Just keep in the back of your mind, Devontae Parker has the worst schedule going into the 2020 season. Now, for running backs, this is sad. This is really sad. Now, the worst schedule, At the bottom is Alvin Kamara with a 0-star rating to have the worst schedule based on points allowed with defenses of 2019 season. Next up, my boy Cam Akers, 1 star. Again, a running back committee, worst schedule. It's a very tough schedule. I'm almost to the point where I got to say hands off of that whole backfield. But I'm a homer. I love my guys. Cam Akers is on 2 of my rosters in 2 leagues. We'll just have to see what happens. It's going to be very ugly. Then we have Clyde Edwards, Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of gas, a lot of hype on him. Just saying. Doesn't have a great schedule. It's very tough for these guys, especially for a rookie. That's a lot of pressure on him to show up and perform. But again, I trust in the Chiefs system. I trust that they can get him going. I trust, that he will be a valuable second-round pick that some of these people will get. But in due time, we shall see. But that schedule's looking pretty tough. So it's not like he has a walk in the park. It's not like he has a Jonathan Taylor schedule. If he did, just imagine, to the stars, to the moon. I will definitely be giving you that CMC, Saquon Barkley years, the breakout years or whatever. I'll definitely give you those vibes. Saquon killed it his rookie year, and maybe Clyde Edwards could, but not with that schedule. That it looks very tough, and we shall see what happens. But again, with COVID, all these players opting out, it's going to be very difficult to really try to do these strength of schedules weekly because a lot of shit is going to change. A lot of teams are we know players are going to catch COVID. We know that's going to happen. I wish they just did a bubble like how the NBA did, but they're going to have players sneaking out, going home to their families, etc., partying, going places they shouldn't be at, around people they shouldn't be around, and then, boom, they're out for 2 weeks. So we just got to put that in consideration. Hopefully, again, it's none of my studs, none of my players, and I definitely want to shout out NFL, ESPN, and Yahoo, incorporating, with their fantasy formats of, COVID IR, basically open up additional spots automatically. You don't really have to set it up. It'll just be there available for you. I think NFL said they're doing 3 spots of IR COVID or whatever, and I think that's pretty dope. But this episode is pretty long, and I do want to end it. I want to go upstairs. I want to go to bed. Well, I don't want to go to bed. I want to watch Hard Knocks, but I am tired. I'll just catch it tomorrow. But anyway, that was strength of schedules. Hopefully, I gave you guys some type of tools. I only gave you 3 out of the running back and wide receivers because I think everything else under there, it doesn't really matter. It's a lot of mid, guys that you should already know to draft. Joe Mixon. You should already know the draft, Derrick Henry. You should already know the draft, Kenyon Drake. All these guys you already should know to draft. None of their schedules are terrible. They're 4 stars. It's either you're under that or you have no stars, 1 star, 2 stars. That's where obviously where it's difficult. But yeah, shout out to Fantasy Pros for the listing for strength of schedules. Shout out to you guys, and hopefully you guys are recovering, doing better with the whole Bobby incident. Shout out to you guys for your apology. Definitely take that into consideration. Thank you guys for all the hard work you guys do. Again, shout out Fantasy Pros. Shout out Mike. Shout out Kyle. And fuck you, Bobby. But anyway, I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.